A lot of people are talking about what e-com is, and it's growing and ever growing as ever. And people are scaling them tons of campaigns. I know a lot of people here sitting in the crowd, spending millions and making millions as well on e-com. But today I'm going to talk about how to dominate, e-commerce globally. When I say globally, it's like any country in the world probably, and just using native ads. I know when it's not very familiar when we talk about e-commerce, it's mostly Facebook, right? But native is something different, and it's one traffic source which has greater potential than, better than Google, I would say. So before we move to that, I will talk about like why you should be listening to me. Is it working? Yes. So just to move forward, I'm just going to give you a brief insight of what I do and who I am. So I run a company called Ashfox Media, which is into performance marketing. We run affiliate campaigns. We also do some agency management on very big spends. I'm personally obsessed with data, so my specialty and what I do every day in my life is like read data, analyze, try to optimize the campaigns wherever it is possible, and try to make sure like my campaigns have better ROI. We also own a nutrition company in India. It's called by the name of Nutralife, and I think a lot of people know that here. I spend over more than $1 million a month on native advertisements. A month, right? So that's 7-figure spends that are happening every month. And when I talk about 7 figures, it's not easy. It's something that based out of skill. So that's what I'm going to share with you, how we go down into those sessions, structure it in a way where people are able to run the campaigns profitably, and that too on a global scale. And lastly, I like to travel. That's pictures from New York. So, and I think, that's one thing that I would encourage you to do as well. I'm glad that you guys are here learning about what is going on in the industry, and it's a great start. So thank you for putting up this show again. So before we move on to, we have a very short span of time. We have 20 minutes, and I'll try to wrap up and share with you whatever is possible. But before even we go there, I want to talk about why actually e-com on native. What's the benefit, and why we're even thinking on those terms. Number one, and the biggest thing, is white hat. So a lot of people here probably know what black hat is, and they are using those gimmicks methods to use brand names or celebrity angles and all those things, and kind of not being able to consistently scale their campaigns. So what happens is you would probably have an account, you'll spend $10,000 in a day, and then next day your account's going to get banned. So with working on white hat campaigns on e-com, let's say for e-com, for example, there's no ban. So that's the best thing. Secondary, it has a global reach. When I say global reach, it is really global reach. Every country in the world is possible. So moving forward, you'll see what I'm talking about, but yes, it has a global possibility of expansion. There are some people who talk about, doing e-commerce in India, some people talking about e-commerce in US, but I'm talking about probably picking up third world remote countries where you have the names that you've not even heard of. And the best part about native is they are kind of not seen as ads. They're seen as more of a content. They just blend in between the article beneath that you're trying to read, and they're not generally read as, people are just trying to read some ads. So, and lastly, the story sells. So Facebook is great, it has a great pixel data and it does very well, but what happens with native is people are trying to read content. So you have much better chances to kind of sell them the story that you want to sell them, right? So that way it is more convenient to show them something which is not readily available. So this is just an example of an e-com ad. New lunch mosquito trap finally solves mosquito problem. So that's something you see on a day-to-day basis on native ads. That's how it's going to be, relevant in the, let's say. So when I say native, just giving you a heads up, because we are short of time and we're not talking about what native is all about. This is probably an ad from a website like MSN or NDTV, where you will see widgets from Taboola and Outbrain and let's say MGID or those networks, for an example. So this is how it is generally seen. And the good part is you have just like Facebook, you have more possibility of showing customer what the actual product is all about. And lastly, I would like to add on this, there are generally less compliant things in native than compared to what is in Facebook. So there are things that you can do on native easily, but you can't still do on Facebook because of the compliance and the competitiveness of the market. So but in the end, we don't want to buy data. In the end, we want to have conversions. How many of you are affiliates here? Okay, so you need to spend some time, like understanding what I'm going to do in this particular slide. So the affiliate mindset is all about conversions and making ROI, right? So before you do that, you need to understand why and how this is going to work. You need to understand the algorithm. That's the basics of and the foundation of any traffic source. So somebody who's spending $100,000 on their Facebook and somebody who's spending on some kind of money on native, you need to understand how the platform is working. And that's how it's going to turn to conversions. These are the key 4 points, 5 points that turns it overall into a conversion. CTR. So CTR is like one of the primary factors when we talk about anything on native ads. And how CTR is differentiation. The CTR differentiations come from 2 major points. One is the ad creative, and second is the headlines. So as the algorithm, luckily on native advertisements we buy on CPC. We are not buying on CPM. But all these companies, all the exchanges, and let's say traffic networks like Ref Content and Content Ad, they are making their money on CPM. So when we are talking about making money on CPM, the more the CTR, the more money these traffic sources are going to make. So the idea is to have your CTR as high as possible, and thus providing the right intent using the right headlines, and then that would convert. Placement. Placement is where you will see the ads, right? So what sites are ads are being shown, what category are ads being shown. So on native, we can have different publishers. One publisher could be Amar Ujala, one publisher could be Dainik Bhaskar. So both sites would have a different kind of audience set, probably. And so maybe there is one website where the more Hindi customer base, there's more English customers, maybe more Tamil, maybe more German. So it depends on what site we are targeting and what placement we're actually driving our sales from. Next is device. So placement is like 2 factors. So by device, either you're targeting mobile traffic, either you're targeting desktop traffic. What type of traffic you're talking about? So each website is structured in 2 different ways. So it could be mobile traffic, it could be desktop traffic, it could be tablet traffic. So most important key here to get conversions is the funnel. Why funnel is more important? Because even if you have the CTR, you're getting traffic from the right side, you have the intent, but your story is not selling enough. Your story doesn't have those elements which will make a product particularly sell. So that would never work out. And lastly is the bid. So these are the 4 factors which talks about what works on a native and how the algorithm is defined eventually. The key factors to think about here is CTR and bid. CTR multiplied by bid is usually the revenue they're making. So rest of the factors I would say is placements and funnels, more about the conversion metrics. More you understand this, more easily you'll be able to you get the conversions. Before you even set up your campaigns, you scale to whatever numbers you want to scale. You have let's say you want to spend $5,000 a day, or let's say $100 a day or $500 a day. It's very important to understand how do you structure. Now we are talking about global e-com. So whatever structure I'm going to show you right now is like one campaign in all countries in the world, right? And we do it in 2 phases. And I'll explain why we have done that way. So phase number one, the first campaign we usually set up is desktop. On native ads, desktop is one of the most premium quality of traffic. The users who are on desktop usually have more buying capacity, obviously reasons. Some people, let's say, who are on Mac, they have more money versus people who are on Linux machines. But even though that doesn't matter, desktop is by far the premium quality. Right now, everybody is moving to mobile. We have smartphones and we have more traffic coming in, but desktop still converts way better than other traffic sources. And then obviously on desktop, the bids are higher, right? Second campaign we set up is tablet. but added to desktop. So the way we do it is like the campaign is primarily tablet. So that means the bids are lower than what it is from desktop, but we still add desktop in the loop. So what happens is like on tablet, you could have a different CTRs. Just because of having a different CTRs and lower bid, you still want to get some traffic. And now if you have desktop inbuilt in that, you have more traffic coming from desktop at a cheaper price. Third, the similar way we're going to do on mobile. So let's say we are targeting a campaign on mobile. So that means that bid are probably less than even a half of what we are doing on desktop. So if my bids on desktop, let's say 50 cents, and my bids on mobile is like 20 cents. But at the same time, if I have tablet and desktop inbuilt, I have still more traffic going on. And that way, the desktop traffic, which we are getting now much cheaper, is also going to convert. That's the phase one. That's how the first draft of the campaign. Now, all the campaigns that we are talking about here today is blacklist. I'm not talking anything about setting up a whitelist, because what we're doing is we're setting campaigns globally, right? So it's all countries. We don't want to drill down sites to that low number and just target on them, because you will find out there are some good winner sites, very low traffic, but they give sales very cheap. So you don't want to block them. You don't want to just target the best of the sites. Now, phase two. So once we have all these campaigns done, like blacklisting, one desktop traffic, one tablet traffic, one mobile traffic, clubbed with much cheaper desktop and tablet traffic, we use that data to have more ROI and set up campaigns which really help us to scale. Once we have more data, we have usually identified iOS customers have more buying power, so that turns into conversions way better. And so we try to differentiate. iOS campaigns is different, and then we set up another campaign for Android. And that is all once you have a data. And in these particular campaigns, you can still club desktop. So you could have a campaign saying mobile iOS plus desktop only Mac, right? So it's your choice. But I recommend just doing mobile iOS. We could have one campaign just for retargeting, having all of these placements, mobile, desktop, and tablet. And then we'll have a lookalike. So recently, a lot of these native ad networks also launched this feature called lookalike. So they have all the audience data as we have on Facebook. So it's similar to how we have been working on Facebook. It's just a different platform, right? Good so far? Any questions? Okay. So the point is now you have to get really creative with the creatives. We talked about placements. We talked about why CTR is important. We talked about why bid is important and all these points. So next 10 minutes I'm going to take you through to all these points very shortly, give you some insights on what we did and how it really helped us to drive conversions. Usually in e-commerce, we have seen like if we have a picture of any, let's say for that example, I'm talking about a drone here. We were selling drones. So we try to test more angles, and we had a picture of drone in the hand versus drone just lying there. So you would see any kind of amateurish photo, something which looks real to the user, which is not perfect, which is not great in looking, that turns out in better conversions. So user kind of tend to attach to that. So having a drone in my hand versus just having a drone doing its thing, it creates a whole lot of difference. It feels more relevant to the user. So when I'm talking about relevancy, it's more intentive relevancy, somebody who can understand, who can relate to. So I have my hand and let's say drone or any other gadget over there, it is more relevant to me. Then we went across testing a lot of GIF ads. So GIF ads tend to get crazy CTR, way better than what we have on normal image ads. So on Facebook we do video ads, but on native we could do GIF ads. If you see this image, there's nothing we have done. It's the same image in the hand showing a gadget, but it is just changing colors. And this very small tweak of changing colors will give you much better CTR eventually, and then you're driving traffic on the same product and just much cheaper. Another example of how we did that was, it's the same angle, using showing the user the particular product in hand, how it feels like, how it folds, and how just being more relevant, right? We have seen that something like all these gadgets in the hand, they convert really well, and then we try to do it's more like a demonstration on how the product feels. So users tend to buy more of any product which feels that they can also use it. Right? So if, for example, I have a product, let's say I'm trying to sell a shampoo. So if I have a shampoo in my hand versus shampoo lying on a kiosk, it feels more relevant, and that's why all these brands using Dove and have all these videos saying I use this product and it worked really well. So more of user intent we try to show on these GIF ads, also trying to get CTR at the same time. Another example, what we tried was, showing how the drone or the particular product is working. So we use GIF ads to depict what we do on video ads on Facebook. So it's just how it is working. Like if you see the particular GIF ad here, it's very relevant, right? It's very relevant. It's flying, and that you see it working, and it always catches attention. For example, now you're browsing through a site. When you see this image, you'll see it is getting a lot of your attention. It's very easy to grab that attention. Another example that I'm going to show you here is very small tweak. This was one of the most powerful images, GIF images we had. We did really nothing, to be honest. It's the same image, but a very short clipping, very, very short clipping, because sometimes weird things and something which is not relevant and which is not I would say cool or clean. When we're trying to set up ads, we in most cases, we think that ads has to be, very clean and very, nice and very good on Photoshop and all that thing. But on native perspective, to drive more CTR, you have to have ads which are more intuitive, something which just grabs your attention. And doing this on GIF was hardly anything. It's just like, it's a very small time frame. So if I give you the reason behind this, there's something called time decay. When you're browsing on a particular website and you're scrolling, you'll figure out that people, tend to lose interest after a point of time. So for us, it is more important to drive CTR, right? And to drive CTR, we do these kind of things, which is more weird, more irrelevant to the user, but suddenly they're eye-catching. So we want to capture the user on the same time frame where we want them to convert. Another example, this is the last one, that on how you can sell also as more of showing a product. How does it look like? So this is the typical way you do it. Before this, it's all trying to get more relevant, making sure that these are different. But this is more like product feedback or product look like. This is more, and then if you see, this is more light. So again, something doing like this also grabs your attention. So native is a lot about testing creatives. You have to think beyond what you have been working on. And this has to be all about how we see the ads, right? Now, second was, the intent. So intent is always created by the headlines. So we have to make sure the headlines are as relevant as possible. What matters on headline, I'm going to talk quickly about these 3 points. Number one, it has to be short. Nobody has time to read a very long headline. For example, XYZ happened, and then I was doing this, and that happened, and that happened. Headlines have to be short and crisp. They cannot be very long. It has to be, just to the point. It has to be relevant. That is no-brainer. So until it has the relevance, the intent will never come out. Last, again, the intent has to be clear. Even if you have the intent, but intent also has to be cleared. Now I'm going to give you an example of what kind of headlines that really worked and converted for us. So since this campaign was targeted globally, we set up a headline which is called Virtually Indestructible's Drone Takes Country Capitalized, which is the macro on a traffic source. So what happens if somebody is browsing from, let's say, Germany, it will say Germany. Somebody is browsing from US, it will say US. And from whatever the country the user is browsing, they will see that relevancy to them. Again, we need relevancy in the headlines, right? Second is, this is German. Obviously, I cannot read it, but so while we were targeting, just for your information, Germany is not the only country that has German language, right? So you can think about more countries, for example, Switzerland. Switzerland, more than 50% population talk in German. So you can target all those geos, which is not just German as well. Last, this is very important. So think about this, for example. While you're setting up your headlines, when you're making it really clear. So this last headline has the intent very clear. This cheap $99 drone. So people at least know what they're going to buy and what price. So all these people who are moving forward from this ad, they know what they're going to buy, and which helps us in driving conversions even better. It's most amazing invention of 2018 and so on. Now, this is really important. While I was talking about global expansion, why it has to be a global setup and how you can set up those campaigns, look in this image really quick. So we just not targeted US and top tier 1 geos and tier 3. We were actually targeting a lot of other geos. If you see, you would see a lot of countries, like for example, I don't know what's the name or what you can see. So for example, the second last, Bulgaria, right? You have 13 sales in less than $30 each. So 13 sales, $30, and I was getting paid $80 for the CPA. And so when you say I'm getting paid 80 and you have, who would think a country like Bulgaria where you have hardly any traffic and you're making tons of money with that? So the traffic screenshot is probably just last 30 days, right? So when you're talking about 30 days and having 13 or 20 sales from one particular country, which, which nobody even will talk about. So we talk about Puerto Rico, we talk about Costa Rica, we talk about Bulgaria, Romania, all these shorter geos that usually people, when you're setting up their campaigns, they won't target. So mostly when you're setting up your campaign, it will be like, it's going to be US only, Canada only, and so on. But when we are doing this, we're getting tons of cheap traffic available in that particular country and getting sales for cheap as well. So I don't know how clear that screenshot is to you, but I'm just going through some of the countries. Singapore had sales in $40. Then we have Costa Rica in $28. We have countries in sales in even $10. So think of this, for example. So there's a random country that you have not even heard of, right? And then you're getting these sales in like less than $10. And then you're getting paid 80. So it's a huge difference versus what you're trying to achieve. And really, when I'm saying globally, pick inventory on every single country. It doesn't matter whatever the country is, even if you've heard the name or not, just try it out. I'm going to show you the last two. I don't know how to pronounce this, but once you get the slides, you'll see. Last two countries, they have sales in like $11 and $8. These are the names of the countries that you never even heard of. Remotely in probably in Europe or South America, I have no clue. But when you go out reading the stats, you have sale in like $8 and you're getting 80. So it's more like 100,000 ROI. So that's where you start thinking. And the good part is, it is cheap traffic, right? So let's say you're setting a campaign for 5 cents on a global level. You drive traffic from US on 5 cents. You drive traffic from India in 5 cents, you drive traffic from Pakistan and all these countries. And trust me, I have sales from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, where you'll never set up your campaigns. So when I'm talking about setting up with all these particular geos where there is hardly any traffic available, but cheap traffic, right? So that is more relevant, it converts really well. I'm going to lastly talk about what things that makes your landing page more relevant to the user and why it converts probably. Number one is, the headline. Your headline on the landing page drives 90% of the sales. So whatever your funnel says or your ad copy says, but if your headline is not relevant and your headline is not talking about what the product is about, how different the product could be, it can never convert. This thing really helped us to take the sales from 1% to 1.3%, which is a great number here. So earlier we had, you can buy this XYZ product for, let's say, 50% off. But what we did was, you can have this XYZ% product for $99 because earlier it was priced $198. So when you mention price, and somebody is clicking to check out the product even further, it is more likely that they understand what product is all about, what pricing it is, and what it is going to cost them to purchase it. So when they understand all those metrics, it becomes easier for user to purchase it. and thus increasing the conversion rate for us. Country logo. So now we're talking about setting up campaigns in, let's say, 50 different countries. We made a rule, so like, let's say somebody coming from Hungary or somebody's coming from Belgium, their country logo would be placed on the landing page. So once you have that, it becomes, again, more relevant. So as we have seen the headline on the ad copy, we had the same headline on the landing page. So US citizens are getting crazy about this XYZ drone and sweeping the market and so on, and then it had a US flag out, right next to it. It made the user feel more relevant. Create urgency. Your landing page has to create some kind of urgency that it is, it's just gonna sell out, or it is like last few products left, or just low availability or something like that. You have to create kind of urgency for the user to purchase it right now. You don't want to have user in a performance marketing funnel where they are coming back after retargeting, or maybe thinking about, because it's not a branded product. It's an affiliate product, and even if they're coming again after that, and the sales will not be given to you because it's coming directly to the advertiser landing page. So you have to kind of make them purchase right there, right now. You can obviously offer a one-time special discount, and then have testimonials. The testimonials is really the key thing here, because, for example, if I have a landing page where I'm mentioning I bought this for my kid and he's very happy, he's enjoying, versus hey, this product was, I bought it and it's really cool. So you gotta have to make sure that you're getting more relevant into the user space. Think what kind of people are actually buying the product, from which country, and what is their intent to buy the product. Once you know what is their intent to buy the product, you can have that in the landing page as a fake testimonials. Last is, the emotional context. The emotional context is talking about what can make them purchase the product. So if, I want to gift, you can have a gifting angle, buy this product for your boyfriend, buy this product for your sister, buy this product for your brother for this Halloween's or Labor Day, or something like that. This emotional angle would also drive more sales, because it's more relevant and people would want to buy a drone which is much cheaper than the normal drones in the market. So pretty much that's it from my side. If you have any questions, you can let me know, and I'm more than happy to take them forward.
Yeah, thanks, Vipul.
Thank you.
My first question is about, you managed to run in the countries where we didn't even know the name of the countries.
Yeah.
How did you deliver product to those countries?
So since we are running an affiliate campaign, it's not my problem, honestly.
Fine. So can you share what kind of networks are there in the market?
I can give you a list of networks. So
perfectly
pretty much, I think DFO and the Matrix, there are tons of networks.
Okay, so they support all kinds of countries.
Everything. Every country in the world.
And I suppose this was a COD plus.
This is only prepaid. There's no COD.
No COD.
So there is no possibility of doing a COD campaign globally.
Okay,
it doesn't exist.
So like in those countries, specifically the one in second slide you had, those last two. So do they have purchasing power to buy it prepaid?
That's why they're buying it.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much.
So think about this from example. Even if you're in Germany, but there are people in Germany also, reading content in English, right? So let's say I read in Hindi, but I will still go to a particular website which has content in Hindi available or English available. So if I'm targeting English global, so there are websites on that global inventory delivering that English traffic, apart from what Germany has to offer as a German traffic, right? And that traffic is something that not normally people are buying, because they are always targeting German traffic. So I'm targeting more English traffic in Germany, which other people are not targeting.
So that is the one key ingredient that if
Yes.
you want to go with the global, then you should target with the language that is
globally accepted. So for example, I told you, right? You could target a German campaign in Switzerland, because again, 50% people are also doing German.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Manage bidding, because for example, like if you bid high, then you'll get better quality traffic, but if you bid low, then you'll get like poor quality traffic. But if you're bidding high, so you'll also be getting the traffic at a more expensive rate, even from cheaper countries. So how do you manage that?
Right. So the key ingredient in this particular campaign is you don't have to bid too high. The reason, if you bid too high, the bid will also increase for all the other countries where traffic is available for cheap. The idea is to bid low so that you have lower bid traffic also in the top countries like US. So let's say I'm targeting a mobile traffic for only 2 cents. For something like India or probably Pakistan, 2 cents is good enough. But you would see that you're also getting traffic from US in 2 cents. But if you're bidding like 10 cents, your spends would just like blow out in probably 10 minutes because you're targeting global traffic at 10 cents. So we have to bid low so that we're getting all the traffic available from all these countries for cheap. And that it's available inventory. This particular campaign had more than 10 billion impressions. So think about how much inventory we were purchasing on a global scale. How much time people were seeing our ads.
Okay, so that means like if you're bidding low, so you'll have to like aggressively cut also placements.
Yes.
Because you'll get
Yes.
a lot of bots and all also.
Of course. So each country might have bot traffic available. So you have to block those websites. And after a while, when you have done tons of blocking on those websites, it works fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Most of my time goes in creation of either ad in terms of photograph or video. So can you give some tip that how to choose means how I can fast the process of creation, because the major time goes in that.
Are you working as an individual single media buyer? Okay.
No.
So there are two things you can do. One, you can just spy and copy. Don't use your brain. So whatever is working in the market, just copy. While when you're testing a new product, you just literally don't have to create something new. To be honest, if you're trying to sell a product which is not available in the market, there's nobody else doing it, then it's a different story. But then if you have a product which is like something like this, working in the market, just use spy tools and copy it. Don't try to invent the wheel because it's new for you. Your first step is to make profit, not to make better ads, right? So as a campaign, you have to make the ads convert. So if some ad is particularly seen for multiple number of times, that means that ad is working. So just copy that. Second way you could do is you can probably not try to create tons of good ads. Just have normal ads from your smartphone. Picture it from your smartphone, or probably just go on Fiverr and give it to someone to do it, like just for $5. So if that is consuming your time, that's something which should not consume a lot of your time after a while.